The sun dipped behind the rugged peaks of the Appalachian Mountains, casting long shadows that stretched across the forest floor. As a 60-year-old outdoorsman, I had been hiking these trails for decades. The thrill of solitude, the crackle of a campfire, the whisper of the wind among the trees. It was my haven. I set up camp in a clearing surrounded by ancient oaks and thick underbrush. The air was crisp, tinged with the earthy scent of damp leaves. I built a fire, its flickering light dancing against the encroaching darkness. As the last rays of sunlight faded, I felt a familiar thrill. Out here, everything felt alive. A world untouched by time. The evening passed with the sounds of the forest enveloping me. Crickets chirped, and the occasional rustle in the undergrowth reminded me that I wasn't alone. I leaned back in my foldable chair, sipping from a thermos of coffee. The warmth spread through me, a comforting blanket against the chill of the night. But as darkness deepened, the atmosphere shifted. The forest became eerily quiet. I noticed it first, the absence of sound, the way the air seemed to thicken around me. I glanced at the fire, its flames flickering nervously, as if sensing something lurking just beyond the light. I shook off the feeling. Just the mountains settling for the night, I told myself. Hours slipped by, and I retreated into my tent, the fabric a thin wall between me and the wilderness. I tried to sleep, but rest eluded me. Every creak of the tent, every rustle outside, pulled me back to wakefulness. I lay still listening, my heart pounding in my chest. Then I heard it, a low growl, almost a whisper, weaving through the trees. It sent a shiver down my spine. I held my breath, straining to discern the sound. It was close, too close. Panic surged through me, but I fought it back. It's just an animal, I murmured to myself. Probably a bear. But this growl was different, deeper, and more menacing. It vibrated through the ground beneath me, my tent walls trembling as if something large was moving outside. My mind raced. What could it be? I reached for my flashlight, the beam cutting through the darkness just outside the tent. Nothing. I waited, my breath caught in my throat. The silence returned, heavy and oppressive. Minutes stretched into eternity. Then the growl came again, louder and more defined. It was no longer a whisper. It was now a promise of danger. My instincts kicked in. I unzipped the tent cautiously, peering out into the night. The fire had dwindled down to just embers, casting a faint glow that barely illuminated the trees. Shadows danced, twisting and merging as if they were alive. I scanned the darkness, my heart racing. And then I saw it. A shape, shifting between the trees. It was tall, almost unnaturally so, with limbs that seemed too long and a movement that defied logic. It slithered rather than walked, its body bending in ways that made my stomach turn. My breath quickened. I wanted to call out, to shout, but the words lodged in my throat. The creature paused, its head tilting as if it sensed me. I could feel its gaze piercing through the darkness, a weight pressing down on me. I stumbled back into the tent, my heart jumping wildly. The walls felt like they were closing in. I pressed my back against the fabric, trying to quiet my racing thoughts. What was that? More importantly, what does it want? The growl returned, resonating from just outside the tent. I gripped the flashlight, my fingers trembling. I had to see it. I had to confront whatever was out there. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for what lay ahead. I unzipped the tent again, and this time with resolve. The beam of light cut through the darkness, and I saw it. Its eyes glinting like shards of glass, reflecting the light. It was closer now, looming, a grotesque mockery of nature. In that moment, I felt a rush of clarity. This creature wasn't just a threat. It was a reflection of something deeper. It was the fear of the unknown, the wilderness that could consume me whole. I took a step forward, my heart pounding. The creature recoiled, the growl morphing into something almost curious. I could feel a connection, an understanding that transcended worlds. Here, in this vast wilderness, I was both insignificant and integral. But before he could move closer, the creature turned, slipping back into the shadows, and it melted away, leaving only the echo of its presence. I stood there, breathless, the night closing in around me once more. The forest resumed its symphony, the crickets chirping, the wind rustling through the leaves. I was alone, yet I felt a lingering presence, an unseen weight in the air. I crawled back into the tent, my heart still racing. There was going to be no sleeping. My thoughts were swirling. What had I witnessed? These mountains whispered secrets, and I realized I was just one of many stories woven into their fabric. As the darkness wrapped around me, I understood that some things would remain unseen and unexplained. Some truths lay hidden, waiting to be discovered, and perhaps best left alone. In the silence of the night, I listened, uncertain, wondering what would come next.